Hi, this is Nemesis Stars. Apparently this is basically a second video linked to the other video that I made. So basically, when I started thinking about the trailer, of Re9, I started they did actually mention that there was 4 victims, basically connected to the 5th victim. So, basically, the 5th victim, which we already know was already mentioned, so basically I wanted to make speculations on who the other 4 victims could be. Now, the first one that comes off the bat is Jim. Now, I do think Jim is the weakest out of all the victims, and he could have literally been targeted first. So, I think he most likely died first. Now, that's what I believe, because I always believed Jim was the weakest, because whenever you play Outbreak, he always died first, out of all the characters. So, basically, there is other characters as well that most likely didn't make it, like, Yoko. Yoko basically doesn't really have a gun, so she most likely didn't survive either. Also, she had amnesia as well, so it's a shame, because she had a lot of backspace. She had, like, security and whatever, but I do think she was one of the most targeted victims, because she did get targeted by Umbrella. So I think she probably met her demise at some point, so she was most likely the second victim, after Jim, I believe. So basically, the other victim, I think, the most likely didn't make it, could have been George. Now, George is a doctor, but I probably think he probably wouldn't have survived for long. Even though, he doesn't really have a gun on him. Well, at the start of the game he doesn't. So, since he's basically sort of, like, new to the whole infection thing, there could have been a chance he clearly could have died as one of the 3. So, the 4th victim, I think, that most likely went with the rest was Cindy. Now, she was a waitress in, Raccoon City, and most likely she could have actually died. So, basically, when you look at it, there's 3 victims left. So, basically, that could still be alive. So, I think David, since, he handles weapons, could literally still be alive as one of the victims. The second victim, I believe, that's still alive, is Kevin. Now, he actually does have a really strong handgun. So I believe, since he has knowledge with basically zombies and such now, because he did make an intercom as the transmission to Leon and whatever and all that, wanting that to come, I still believe he's still alive. Even though we haven't seen him yet. The other one, I think, that most likely is still alive is Mark. Now, again, he still has a gun, he's strong, whatever, and he actually is classed as a security sort of person, so I still believe he's still alive as well. So yeah, so basically, him, and him. Those 3 are still alive, I believe. Most likely. So yeah, David, Mark, and Kevin are probably most likely still alive as the 3. 3 remainder members of Outbreak. All the others are actually speculated that are probably all dead by now. Because they did say 5 victims that have died, because Alyssa was one of them. Alyssa was, like, the recent one. So, all the 5 are dead except for the 3 that I've mentioned. These 3. So, they're still alive. So, even though Kevin is my favorite male, I actually, at least I basically have a feeling he's still alive. Shame about Yoko, though, because she was my favorite female. One of my favorites. Also, Sydney was one of my favorites as well. But Yoko was basically my main favorite with the backspace. But it's a shame, really. So at least basically Kevin is still alive, I believe. So yeah, so basically, again, do actually think, you know, basically the three that I mentioned had a better chance of surviving, due to handguns and whatever. Him making, like, you know, like a weapon with knives on the end. Pretty good at that. Basically Mark being strong to barge down doors and stuff. Yeah, he actually most likely survived. Kevin basically being the leader of the team. Most likely survived, I think. Which could explain why he's kept the others safe for the time being. Since they have knowledge. But David, I know by certain cutscenes and Outbreak, he is hot-headed. So I actually believe, basically, all three of them have had fights at times. So they're probably been basically most likely surviving on their own, most likely separated from each other, and won't try to survive on their own for the time being, so they won't get targeted. Now, basically, I believe the locations most likely where the most likely could be hiding is, he most likely could be hiding in a hardware store, or somewhere to do with, like, weapons, I think. Kevin, on the other hand, could be looking for somebody connected that he knows, I think. Or something similar or something, I'm not sure, really. Mark, on the other hand, most likely be helping survivors, you know, most likely whoever's still alive, I guess. But yeah, basically that's what I think of the three so far. And apparently that's all I've got to say for, like, today's video. So at least I've actually speculated on, basically, you know, who the last three that are alive actually are. So, yeah.